listening to the WrestleHavoc Podcast on YouTube, where we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. We talk all that goes on in the realm of WWE and AEW every week. And now, here's your host, the one that will give you a reality check on pro wrestling, Flamin' Ricky DeReyes. This is the WrestleHavoc Podcast.
It was a year ago, almost a year ago to the day, where we had All Out 2022 from Chicago, Illinois, at, of course, the former Sears Center, the now Arena. And overall, that was a phenomenal show. Probably from top to bottom, one of the best pay-per-views that AEW has produced in that year. And it was a great show. We had an amazing trios match with the Elite taking on Dark Order with Hangman Page. We also had the main event of CM Punk and Jon Moxley, with CM Punk defeating Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship. And then after that, the entire arena went dark, and then it showed MJF with his devil mask on the screen, solidifying his official return to AEW after being away for almost the entirety of the summer. Then all of a sudden we had Brawl Out. You guys know the story. CM Punk goes off right next to his boss, Tony Khan. Tony Khan didn't do jack shit. And then after the whole media scrum, what happened? The Bucks and Kenny Omega kicked down, quote-unquote, the door of CM Punk, and all hell broke loose, deeming it officially as Brawl Out, overshadowing the entire pay-per-view, overshadowing MJF's return. Fast forward a year later, we had probably, if not the biggest show that AEW has ever produced, all in London at Wembley Stadium. 81,000 people inside Wembley Stadium in London in the UK. Probably one of the best pay-per-views that AEW has ever done, if not the best pay-per-view that AEW has ever done. And also, from what it looks like right now, the second highest pay-per-view buy rate that AEW has done. Of course, that is behind All Out from 2 years ago. What happened? What happened in that show? Well, it's, of course, once again involving Mr. Phil Brooks, CM Punk, and this time, the situation is not with the Elite. This time, the situation is with Mr. Jack Perry. Yes, Jack Perry. Apparently, there was a confrontation backstage after Jack Perry's match where Jack Perry foolishly went into business for himself, went to the camera after the glass spot, screaming, "It is real glass, cry me a river." And we all heard about the story immediately after the CM Punk and Samoa Joe match, which was a pretty good opening match in my opinion. And I was really thinking a lot about that situation after Sean Ross Sapp broke the story immediately after the CM Punk and Samoa Joe match. We then had the Elite, of course, that being Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, and Kota Ibushi. Not really the Elite, but you get my drift. Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, and Kota Ibushi taking on Juice Robinson, Jay White, and Konosuke Takeshita. The match was awesome. I enjoyed the match, but I wasn't thinking about the match as I was watching it. I was just thinking about the entire CM Punk situation. And then after that, we had the Young Bucks versus FTR. Great match. Was it their best match? No. But all I was thinking about was, holy fucking shit, what is going on with Jack Perry and CM Punk? And then we had the rest of All Out, or All In. Jesus Christ, I'm getting both of those shows confused. We had All In, the rest of All In, and it ended up being probably the best show ever. It was an amazing show. Then we had the media scrum. We had the media scrum with Tony Khan, but no, we didn't get a crazy tirade with CM Punk. CM Punk was not even on the media scrum. And one of the first things that Tony Khan stated in that media scrum is, yes, there was an incident backstage, and yes, there's going to be an ongoing investigation. Fast forward the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day. What is everybody talking about? Is everybody talking about All In at Wembley Stadium? The answer is very simple. The answer is no. Nobody's talking about All In. Everybody instead is talking about the backstage fight that happened with CM Punk and Jack Perry. And that is where the problem lies. Every time AEW has something amazing or has something big happening in the company, it gets overshadowed by drama. We've seen this ever since Brawl Out, and we've seen this time and time again building up to CM Punk's return. Remember that week where Collision was first announced, and everybody was like, bro, this is going to be an amazing day. We're going to be, getting a renewal with Warner Brothers Discovery. Everybody was so hyped around it, and this was around the Warner Brothers Discovery upfronts. And instead, all the news was about the whole Ace Steel and CM Punk drama. Holy fucking shit. What more drama could this company take? Just think about it. Everything that happens that's good in AEW gets overshadowed by dumb shit that doesn't need to happen at the end of the day. And it was the exact same thing with CM Punk and Jack Perry. An absolute fucking disgrace at the end of the day. And I will put the majority of the blame on Jack Perry. Because at the end of the day, Jack Perry is 100% in the wrong. Okay? This is the type of situation where you fuck around and you find out. But I am not going to let CM Punk off the hook. Because he too is to blame for this situation. Clearly, CM Punk did not learn from what happened last year. And once again, for the second time, CM Punk has been suspended, along with Jack Perry. Now we have a pay-per-view this Sunday that you're going to have to pay $50 fucking for. And honestly, are you willing to spend those $50? Think about the people that paid their money at the United Center for All Out. Now the people that wanted to see CM Punk live are probably not going to be seeing CM Punk live because of this whole incident that went down. This whole situation with CM Punk and Jack Perry is so fucking stupid. And as the thumbnail states, they have been suspended over dumb shit. Think about this. CM Punk and his beef with the Elite was all over Colt fucking Cabana. And with all due respect, Colt Cabana is a guy that plays no important role now in AEW. And he has just no purpose of importance on the show. And this whole drama was based off of Colt Cabana. With Jack Perry and CM Punk, this whole drama stemmed off of one thing and one thing only. Fucking glass. I shit you not. Fucking glass. These are the types of issues that shouldn't be dealt with, or that shouldn't be happening. They should be dealt with, but they shouldn't be happening whatsoever. This whole thing with Jack Perry and CM Punk is fucking ridiculous. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's embarrassing for AEW. And on all levels, how much more drama could this company take? Like, seriously, it's like this company is full of drama. Not only this was the story that came out, but a couple of weeks ago, if you guys do not remember, the Lufisto interview dropped, and she talked about how, the AEW women's locker room is basically like high school drama. Yeah, you didn't think I was going to talk about that? Yeah, I'm going to be talking about that. Actually, I don't know if I'm going to be talking. It's not even in my list of topics, but I will be mentioning that because that plays another role too. There's drama everywhere in AEW. And to an extent, CM Punk was kind of right from what he said at the media scrum last year. This place is full of fucking children. But I'm starting to question, even though CM Punk is right about saying this whole place is full of fucking children, I mean, from CM Punk's actions, he's starting to act like a child himself. How many more chances could CM Punk take? How many more chances could this guy get? That is the big question. But we're going to be talking about the CM Punk and Jack Perry incidents. Fightful has been on point with discussing this whole topic, and literally all week everybody was talking about was CM Punk and Jack Perry. We're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be discussing, and I'm going to be giving you guys my preview and predictions for not only this Saturday's WWE Payback pay-per-view, but we also got AEW All Out, and with all due respect, I'm not excited for both shows. Both shows, I feel like their cards are kind of lackluster. But when it comes to the All Out side of things, my biggest problem with All Out is the fact that you're going to have to pay $50 fucking for this show. I would understand paying $50 for All In, because if you look at the spectacle of the show, All In is 100% worth the $50 that you paid for. But if you look at the card for All Out, clearly it's a half-assed card. It's a card that you would see on a special episode of Dynamite, with all due respect. Do I think the show is going to be amazing? Absolutely. AEW always knocks it out of the park when it comes to their pay-per-views. But is this a show that's worth $50? I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys. No, it's not. It's not worth $50. If this was on a streaming platform, I wouldn't be having this discussion with all of you guys. But All Out, honestly, I'm not excited about. And the ticket sales for this show are really good. Almost 10,000 people at the United Center. That is not bad. But look at the ticket sales for this past Wednesday on Dynamite at the Now Arena. Embarrassing. Very embarrassing. Literally half of the arena was fucking tarped off. The Now Arena, the original home of the original All In. That shit should be sold out already. But apparently the drama people are more interested in than the actual fucking show. But I'll be talking about all that and much more right here on episode 26 of the WrestleHavoc Podcast, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. And as the freaking referee would say, ring that damn bell for more notifications. Of course, if you guys had missed it, the AEW Dynamite review is up on the channel. I talk about, and I ask the big question, are you guys actually excited for All Out? Because clearly I am not. The show is great, but looking at the All Out card, I'm not really excited about this show. We had a great main event with Orange Cassidy defending the International Championship against Penta El Cero Miedo. It was a great match overall, and now we're going to be having Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy at All Out in Chicago, which should be a great match, and I'll be talking about that match later on this show. Also, if you guys had missed it, I talk about the biggest event in wrestling history, Adam Cole versus MJF for the AEW World Championship in the main event. Of course, I talk about All in London. If you guys haven't checked out the All in London review, the link will be in the description below. All right, let's talk about this CM Punk and Jack Perry situation. I'm getting all this information from Fightful Select because I am a subscriber to Fightful Select. And if there was anybody, any dirt sheet writer that has literally been on point with this story, it's clearly Fightful Select. But I will say, when it comes to this Jack Perry and CM Punk situation, there have been conflicting reports. You know, some people would say CM Punk started the fight. Other people say Jack Perry started the fight. At the end of the fucking day, we do not know what actually happened in the gorilla position. Apparently, Tony Khan was there. Monitors were being fucking thrown down on the floor and broken. Crazy shit going on. Crazy shit going on. Just like last year, with all the conflicting reports about the Elite and CM Punk fight in the locker room after the media scrum. Think about this. At the end of the day, we do not know what actually happened in the locker room or what happened this past Sunday at All In. At the end of the day, the only people that only know what happened in that situation was CM Punk, Jack Perry, and Tony Khan, and clearly Samoa Joe or the people around that saw the whole thing go down. But even then, with the people that saw everything go down, they are giving conflicting reports to the dirt sheets on what the fuck went down. Some people say CM Punk started the fight. Some people started to think that Jack Perry started the fight. But clearly, if you really think about it, Jack Perry really started the whole thing because of the fact that CM Punk, or Jack Perry, I should say, went into business for himself and went closer to the camera and screamed, "It's real glass, cry me a river." So clearly, Jack Perry started this whole thing. But if you're talking about the physical confrontation as a whole, we really do not know who actually started that whole thing. Apparently, it was CM Punk. And if it was CM Punk, clearly he's in the wrong. CM Punk, if you really think about it, CM Punk is the type of guy that would be right in a situation. For example, if if something that was done wrong to him, he'd be clearly right in the whole situation. But his actions and the way he would handle a situation, he would immediately be in the wrong. And that is the problem with CM Punk. And the way CM Punk handles himself in these situations, unfortunately, are not good. And Tony Khan really needs to think about this whole thing with CM Punk, because he's paying CM Punk all this amount of money and he does this shit. At the end of the day, who's the boss? Tony Khan or CM Punk? You know, we see all these reports of CM Punk banning people from Collision, because we all know Collision is CM Punk's show. But, I mean, I don't know, man. This whole situation is absolutely insane. So this is coming from Fightful Select. This is the first update from CM Punk and Jack Perry from their altercation at All. And this was actually dropped on Fightful Select during the actual show, because we first heard about the CM Punk and Jack Perry altercation because Sean Ross Sapp tweeted it on Twitter. But we first heard of it immediately after. Like, this was right after the CM Punk and Samoa Joe match happened. And if you really think about it, if you looked at CM Punk's entrance and you looked at CM Punk throughout the majority of this whole match, he looked very pissed off. He looked very pissed off in the match. And after the Joe match, Punk left with his belt. The camera followed Punk, and he just immediately walked out. He looked very pissed off in this whole situation. But this is the first of many updates that Fightful Select had posted on the CM Punk and Jack Perry altercation. CM Punk and Jack Perry had an altercation backstage at AEW All In. Details are few and far between at the moment. But we haven't learned that Jack Perry and CM Punk had an altercation shortly before CM Punk went into the ring for his AEW All In match. Jack Perry was right on before him and did a spot on a car window and said, quote unquote, "It's real glass, cry me a river." This was a shot at CM Punk, who had a confrontation at an AEW Collision taping this summer over Perry's insistence on using real glass for a spot on the show. We're told that Perry wasn't happy with how the situation was relayed publicly by those close to Punk. We have learned the following regarding Punk's side of things, which claimed that Jack Perry approached CM Punk backstage and quote-unquote stepped in his face and quote-unquote bumped CM Punk. Punk was said to have then pushed Perry. Perry allegedly came at Punk and got choked. We haven't heard of a particular kind of choke or who broke things up, and I believe later on, it was Samoa Joe that kind of broke things up. Please note that there's only one side of this story and more details will emerge. Miro has claimed that the Punk side of the story was quote-unquote fake and untrue, and other versions allege that Punk threw a punch and that Punk stepped at Perry first. Other accounts claim that Punk initiated things, they exchanged words, Punk got in Perry's face and pie-faced him. Punk allegedly grabbed Perry in the front face lock and it was broken up. PW Insider has reported that Jack Perry was sent away from the venue and CM Punk was still at Wembley for a time. Eventually, Punk was also asked to leave. Wrestling Observer claims that they were removed by security. Fightful has reached out to both CM Punk and Jack Perry for their sides to clear up misconception regarding their prior argument. And Perry, quote-unquote, trying to not come to work the next week. We're told he had a pre-planned and approved vacation. Tony Khan confirmed the altercation and said an investigation was going on. Now, what's interesting is I talked about this on the All Out review. Now, it's kind of at the moment, but when this whole CM Punk and Jack Perry altercation or, drama started, it was all over fucking glass. Apparently, Jack Perry wanted to use real glass for a spot, and apparently management approved of it. But Punk came in and was like, I don't think it's a good idea to use glass, and Jack Perry kind of took it the wrong way, and he didn't want to, listen to CM Punk. But apparently the real reason as to why Jack Perry was really pissed off at CM Punk throughout this whole situation was the way that the story was handled on the dirt sheets. And it's very similar. Think about this. Why was CM Punk upset last year at All Out or throughout the majority of the summer of last year? It was because the way the dirt sheets handled the situation of Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana, of course, was not seen on AEW TV during that period of time. He was kind of shafted. If you really think about it, he was shafted all the way to the Ring of Honor brand. And a lot of the dirt sheets were saying, okay, Punk had a big reason as to why Colt Cabana is a part of the Ring of Honor brand. Or there's a lot of reports and rumors of Colt Cabana, getting fired from AEW because of CM Punk, which ended up not being true. And then that led to the whole incident at the press conference with CM Punk. Honestly, at the end of the day, Jack Perry is at fault throughout this whole situation. Yes, it's all over glass, and look, Punk had all the right intentions of really going to Jack Perry, for advice saying, hey, look, I don't think it's a good idea for you to use glass. But then, of course, Jack Perry kind of, in a way, took it the wrong way, and from what his actions looked at All In, he was like, oh, it's real glass, cry me a river, only escalating the story further. But really, if you think about it, the real reason as to why Jack Perry has been pissed off at CM Punk, which led to this altercation, was because of the way how the dirt sheets handled the story and the way Jack Perry was looked at in the dirt sheets. He was kind of looked at as a jackass all over the internet. And I'd be pissed off too. But he kind of took the same motto that CM Punk took last year, which is the wrong motto to take, and that is physical confrontation. And that is what really the biggest problem with this whole situation stemmed from. Everybody does not know how to handle things professionally. Jack Perry and CM Punk, they do not know how to handle their situations professionally. You would think Punk learned from what happened last year, but clearly he did not learn what happened last year. And we've been getting all these conflicting reports about, who started the fight, who didn't. It's just a shit show just waiting to happen. And I talked about this. In the build-up to CM Punk's return. I talked about this, with the whole splitting of the rosters and, Punk being on Collision and the Elite being on Dynamite and them having an unofficial brand split because, there's some people that do not want to work with CM Punk and there are people that do want to work with CM Punk. I always said that this was a recipe for disaster. And unfortunately, this is one of those instances. And unfortunately, Jack Perry is, I don't want to create speculation here, but Jack Perry, is friends with the Elite. He's friends with the Young Bucks and everybody else. I mean, I believe it was the Elite that got him a job with AEW, and now this whole thing fucking escalated. It's just absolutely insane to think, but it's an ongoing story, and we have way more stories to go into. And they actually offered an update on Monday. So we learned more about CM Punk and Jack Perry. This is coming from, once again, Fightful Select. There's a lot of eye-rolling and quote-unquote this again type of responses to the Punk altercation. Punk's side of the story was pretty clear. Though we're still getting details about the other side, one source said, quote-unquote, with 100% certainty, Jack Perry didn't throw the first punch. And right then and there, if the majority of the people that say Jack Perry didn't throw the first punch and Punk was the one that threw the first punch, Punk is immediately in the wrong. Because, again, Punk is the veteran, and he's supposed to set an example to the younger guys. And if you don't set an example to the younger guys, at the end of the day, you are just a bad influence. Look at what happened last year. I always constantly mention this because it is true. Punk was right in the situation, because if you were in Punk's situation and you hear all these stories that you know are not true coming out about you, you would call everybody out on their bullshit. But again, there is a certain time and place to do that. And unfortunately, this shit happened during All In, and this shit should have happened immediately after the show, but not in a public manner in the way that it blew up. Continuing on with the whole story. Jack Perry didn't throw the first punch. Punk shoved him and put him in a choke. Depending on who you speak to, accounts have said that Punk shoved, pie-faced, or threw a punch. At this point, we do not know what the fuck happened. The situation happened between the end of Perry's match and Punk's, with one account claiming Samoa Joe was trying to be a peacemaker and keep others out. Several accounts claim that Punk asked Perry if they had a problem, and Perry said that Punk started something online regarding the quote-unquote real/fake glass story, and that was his receipt, as reported by PW Torch. Oh god, PW Torch. Perry had told a couple of people that he was planning to make a comment during the match. As a reminder, we were not present for the skirmish or don't endorse either side as gospel. Many situations like this are going to be inconsistent depending on which side that you hear it from. People close to Punk say that there wasn't much communication between he and Tony Khan after the incident. Punk went as far as to telling people he quote-unquote hates this place. He hates this place. Think about this. Punk recently came back this past June with the launch of AEW Collision. Everything was like fine and well until all these stories started to come out about, CM Punk banning people from Collision and all that. And then he has this confrontation with Jack Perry, and I assume, because look, me myself, I have a temper too. Like, there are many times where I say shit that I end up regretting because, I'm just at the moment in anger. So I don't think Punk really meant that he hates this place, but Punk saying he hates this place, I mean, it's the most CM Punk thing to say, in my opinion. He says he hates this place as a result of the constant issues in AEW. Many people within the company say he's plenty responsible for those issues, which I honestly agree with. Punk has a large portion to blame. I understand. Punk would be upset, again, with the, fake stories that came out about Colt Cabana. Punk had every right to be upset, but again, he handled the situation poorly. And at the end of the day, the fault will go all the way to CM Punk himself. Neither CM Punk or Jack Perry were at the AEW All In after party. Punk headed out to London Monday afternoon. As House of Wrestling reported, both Perry and Punk were told that they should leave Wembley at different times to make things easier. We can confirm PW Torch's report that the production team was informed of a possible match order switch because of the situation, with the Golden Elite match considered to be moved up. And that was hilarious. And I mentioned this at the All In review. You know, after the Punk match, we had the Golden Elite match, and then we had the FTR and Young Bucks match, which is a very, very, very weird order that you would want a match to be involved with or have a match with. Because, again, Punk has history with the Elite, and apparently they're still on opposite sides with one another, and they still hate each other. And the fact that those matches happened back to back to back was hilarious to me. Because think about this. Imagine the awkwardness with the Elite looking at CM Punk and CM Punk looking at the Elite in Gorilla. Think about the awkwardness in that situation. That's hilarious. But again, this is crazy. Punk saying that he hates this place. Honestly, man, a part of me really thinks that Punk is just trying to get fired from AEW. Is he going to get fired from AEW? The answer is simple. He's not going to get fired from AEW. Why would he get fired from AEW? Why would he try to get fired from a place that pays him a shit ton amount of money? Look, even without AEW, Punk is still a millionaire. Punk is a millionaire. He was a millionaire before AEW even became a thing. But again, think about this. Why would Punk walk away from all that money? Why would Punk walk away from all that money? Why would Punk jeopardize his return to AEW the way he did this past Sunday? Punk was probably in the moment saying he hates this place, but Jesus Christ, the amount of headlines that I saw from accounts like What Culture, Cultaholic, Wrestle Talk saying, Punk hates AEW. I mean, at the end of the day, it was just an in-the-moment thing. I say shit when I'm pissed off. I say shit that I completely regret. He probably regrets it, but at the end of the day, the only person that knows what CM Punk is thinking is CM Punk. And, of course, Samoa Joe was kind of the peacemaker in this whole situation, as Fightful Select had reported. We got more on the AEW suspensions. Fightful has confirmed, or I should say Sports Illustrated and Brian Alvarez basically confirmed that CM Punk and Jack Perry are suspended. And this is another story coming from Fightful Select. There was a word early Monday that both Perry and CM Punk were suspending pending an investigation of their physical incident at AEW All In. We heard rumors of a suspension before it was said that some top names had even spoke to CM Punk themselves. Brian Alvarez posted the news on Monday, which Sports Illustrated confirmed on Tuesday. This affects immediate plans for creative, including this weekend's AEW All Out card, where Punk had been planned to perform, and there is no word on the length of the suspensions. And we got an update. They were told, that being Fightful, that Punk's at least has not been informed of the suspension. So CM Punk has not been informed of the suspension. Apparently the story was that CM Punk's lawyer told CM Punk of the suspension. And what's weird about this thing is that CM Punk, it's stated clearly in this line on the Fightful report that we're told that CM Punk at least has not been informed of a suspension. But then we had another report, I completely forgot who it was from, but we had another report saying that CM Punk's lawyer informed Punk that Punk was suspended. So clearly AEW told his lawyer for his lawyer to tell CM Punk. But what's crazy is that Punk and Jack Perry are suspended from AEW. We had no official statement from AEW regarding a suspension, and I assume the reason as to why we didn't get an actual statement from AEW themselves is because of the fact that we have a freaking pay-per-view this Sunday in Chicago, and the crowd in Chicago clearly want CM Punk on that show. They paid their hard-earned money to see CM Punk on that show, so I would assume CM Punk is going to be at All Out. But the thing is, we have a segment this Saturday, tomorrow night, on Collision, with Ricky Starks challenging Ricky Steamboat to a strap match. Could that be the gateway for CM Punk to challenge Ricky Starks to a match for the Real World Championship at All Out? We have no idea. But what's interesting about this whole situation is that if CM Punk and Jack Perry are officially suspended as of right now, and CM Punk shows up at All Out, how is that going to make Jack Perry feel, considering, he played a big role in this as well? I mean, I do believe Jack Perry will get the shittier end of the shaft, in my opinion, and rightfully so, because he kind of started this whole situation. Punk kind of like escalated it in a very unprofessional manner, and I believe he was the guy to throw the first shot. At the end of the day, we do not know who threw the first shot, but a lot of people are turning to CM Punk was the guy that threw the first shot at Jack Perry. But again, how is that going to make Jack Perry feel? But at the end of the day, both men, as of right now, are clearly suspended, and from what it looks like, it's actually a real thing. And then when it came to the Miro situation, Sean Ross Sapp actually posted a video saying, it states, and I quote, video explanation what happened with Miro and CM Punk. Because, of course, with the whole Jack Perry and CM Punk altercation, Miro was involved. And we all know Miro is involved with CM Punk's show, AEW Collision. And apparently there was a whole situation where Miro kind of, said that this thing is completely false. And, apparently there was some sort of beef with Miro and CM Punk. And Miro and CM Punk, clearly that whole thing was debunked, and it was kind of a casual thing. It was kind of, the things that were said were kind of in a jokingly manner. So that is all I got to say on that situation. But we now have plans. Fightful has reported that there were some all-out plans that were discussed, typing up some loose ends and much more. So we got a big-ass report about CM Punk by Fightful Select. It's time for your daily CM Punk update, because Fightful was literally updating everybody about CM Punk every fucking day up to this point. Needless to say, the CM Punk situation has altered some plans for this weekend's AEW Collision and AEW All Out. We still have no confirmation on whether or not he'll be at either. We've heard that Brody King was quote-unquote very heated about the CM Punk / Jack Perry exchange, but we weren't given many details beyond that. Wade Keller, oh god, had reported much of the same, and that Brody King punched an object. We've not confirmed that, but he was using an arm that he doesn't usually use during some of the match. Why is that being reported? First off, Wade Keller saying that, Brody King was pissed off about the situation. What's funny is that when I see a lot of these Wade Keller updates, and this is not a vendetta against Wade Keller, but Jesus Christ, some of these quotes that I see on like the WrestlePurist account, some of these, quotes that I see on Twitter based off of PW Torch, I laugh my ass off because I question myself like, bro, were you fucking there? I don't know, man. Like, the way Wade Keller, and this is almost every dirt sheet, but like, it's so weird. With Wade Keller, he would write these exclusive updates, and like, it would sound like he was actually involved in the situation. Like, he'd give you like a fucking in-depth like report about what the fuck happened. Meanwhile, nobody knows what the fuck happened. The only people that know what the fuck happened was CM Punk and Jack Perry, Tony Khan, and that's it. Okay? They can tell you what actually happened. But whatever. As reported, the Punk and Miro interaction was largely in jest, and a game of telephone took over the situation, and the situation was relayed. Punk was under the impression that he and Miro were on good terms. The face-to-face here happened in the trainer's room after Punk's match with Brody King present. As we'd mentioned previously, there was a lot of rushing to possibly change the first match of AEW All In. Pyro was actively being switched out, and some elements were being brought out for a different match in a hurry. Fightful had gained a tip that Punk wasn't picked up from the airport for the event. Now, this is another crazy story that really was swirling the rounds all over social media, and if that is true, if Punk was kind of like left off and kind of abandoned by AEW is 100% at fault with this. Like, that is very fucked up in my opinion. But Fightful had gained a tip that Punk wasn't picked up from the airport for the event. However, he wasn't singled out. It isn't necessarily true that nobody was picked up, though. There were instructions relayed to talent ahead of the trip that within certain windows, they could be picked up. Outside of that, they could get Ubers and be reimbursed for it. Punk and Jack Perry are both suspended. But Fightful had reported Tuesday that Punk had not been informed of the suspension and learned about it online. He was later told by his lawyer, as reported by House of Wrestling, which, these people are saying Punk was not informed about the suspension, and that's very true, but CM Punk's lawyer was informed about the suspension by AEW, and the lawyer is representing CM Punk. So basically, AEW told the lawyer, hey, tell him that he's suspended, and the lawyer told CM Punk about the suspension. So if you really think about it, he wasn't informed, but at the same time, he was informed by his lawyer because his lawyer is representing CM Punk. So again, I don't know why people are blowing up about this whole situation, but it really shouldn't be blown up. It's being blown up way out of proportion. We're still looking to confirm the Tony Khan and Punk argument aspect of the evening that has been rumored. So apparently PW Torch reported that there was a heated argument between Tony Khan and CM Punk about this whole situation. That hasn't been confirmed yet as of right now, but they're still looking to confirm that whole situation. Punk is at the Cauliflower Alley today, where he is being honored and was chatting up with several other wrestlers. A person who is likely affected by all of this is Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks' suspension in kayfabe was changed from 30 days to 28 days a couple of weeks ago, which is obviously kayfabed and almost over. But Starks isn't being discussed for a huge match. Several readers inquired, asking if Ricky Starks was injured. We've confirmed that he is not, and was always planned to remain on television with several ideas for him on the table. However, he wasn't set to be booked for AEW All In, so the storyline made sense from that perspective. He was discussed for a big match at AEW All Out against CM Punk, and from what it looks like the match is going to happen depending on the outcome of tomorrow's segment on Collision, which I don't know if I'm going to be covering Collision because, again, we got Payback, so I'm going to be prioritizing Payback over Collision. That's just the nature of the situation. One of the matches on the table was CM Punk versus Ricky Starks for the AEW Real World Championship, which would have followed up their series of matches that went down this summer. From what we've heard, it is likely that it had been the main event for All Out, but there's no word on the status of the match now that Punk was suspended after his physical altercation with Jack Perry. We have heard that Ricky Starks isn't at Dynamite on tonight, which this was reported on Wednesday night. And we got latest, once again, on Thursday, yesterday, we got news on CM Punk. Punk Watch Day 5. So we got more updates from CM Punk. Man, bro, Fightful, again, was on top with this whole thing. The latest news on CM Punk is that Fightful has heard from. CM Punk was at the Cauliflower Alley Club this week, seemingly in a very good mood. He accepted his honor and took tons of pictures with fans and other wrestlers. Punk and Miro had been in contact since the rumors of their argument took place. However, in the days prior, AEW did in fact launch an investigation into the CM Punk and Jack Perry altercation. We've been told that they have been collecting statements and interviews about the nature of what happened. We're told that there is footage. Yes, I'm going to read that once again. We are told that there is footage of the incident, as there are cameras all over Wembley. In addition, we have learned that Punk and Tony Khan had an altercation or an interaction that was described as contentious, but a little context was provided. For those still holding out hope or tinfoil hat thing, this is not a work. I don't know why the fuck fans are thinking this is a fucking work. You gotta really ingrain your brain in fucking reality instead of being in that wrestling bubble, because clearly you're a dumbass if you think this is a work. As anything in wrestling, it could certainly be turned into one, but we should not talk about this because this is real life. Again, let's stop being ingrained in the wrestling bubble. Let's turn to fucking reality. This is not a work. All right. But the big story coming out of this particular update is that there was footage of the actual incident. Honestly, I want to see that footage. One of these days, we will be getting that footage. But, that footage tells it all. We do not know, again, what actually happened, but this whole situation is fucking embarrassing. Like, really, really, really embarrassing if you really think about it, because this is coming off of AEW's biggest show ever. And if this is coming off of AEW's biggest show ever, you would think that there'd be a lot of positivity. I mean, we had an amazing main event with Adam Cole and MJF. Adam Cole and MJF fucking tore the house down and told a beautiful story at Wembley Stadium. All of that got overshadowed by the shit that you see in this photo right here, CM Punk and Jack Perry. And during the All In review, I 100% blamed Jack Perry for the situation, but I didn't get full context of the situation until now. Clearly, Jack Perry was pissed off about the way the story that was handled and how he was treated in all of the reporting about the whole glass spot thing. And I would understand that. And Good Mic Work Productions, he brought up a good point. Jack Perry kind of took the motto that CM Punk took last year at All Out. CM Punk was pissed off for the same reasons. He was pissed off because of the way that he was being viewed at by the media. And he went off in a very unprofessional manner. Jack Perry, if you really think about it, did the same thing a year later. But this time, it wasn't CM Punk that did the unprofessional work. Well, technically, I take that back. Punk was unprofessional. Jack Perry, went on national television, and he basically went into business for himself, going to the camera and screaming to the camera, "It's real glass, cry me a river." The moment he did that, he knew, you the viewer knew, like, what the fuck are you doing? And then the whole Punk fight happened. But at the end of the day, this all boils down to CM Punk. Yes, we're going to blame Jack Perry for this, and he has a big part of that to blame. But CM Punk, man, why, we have so many different veterans in AEW. We got Christian Cage. There's Christian Cage. There was Jake Roberts. There's Sting. Punk is another veteran there. Why is it that you got guys like Sting and Christian Cage in that locker room, right? And you hear no stories whatsoever about those guys, having problems with younger talent. But meanwhile, you have CM Punk, who clearly is a guy that doesn't funk around with everybody, and he clearly has enemies. Why do you have a guy like CM Punk, who is also a veteran like Sting and Christian Cage, having all these problems with all this talent? There's a lot of rumors, right? There's a lot of rumors on Edge possibly going to AEW. After his last match in his contract, after he wrestled Sheamus a couple of weeks ago on SmackDown. If Edge, right, came into AEW, I'm not saying he will, but the rumors are very strong that he could possibly go to AEW, even if Edge denied it in a video. If Edge ever went to AEW, right, and a year into that run, you hear no stories whatsoever about Edge and the way, his interactions are with talent, and you hear no negativity whatsoever. What does that say about CM Punk? That's a very interesting question. What does that say about CM Punk as a person? I like CM Punk. Trust me, I'll be the first one to tell you I wanted CM Punk back in AEW. I did. After this situation, is CM Punk going to get fired? The answer is very simple. He's not going to get fired. If you think he's going to get fired, you'd be fucking fooling yourself. CM Punk is the top draw in AEW. Period. Say what you want about the Collision ratings, blah, 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 but CM Punk sells fucking merchandise. He is the top draw in AEW. Is he on a Roman Reigns level of a draw? No, he's not. But he is still a draw. People waited 7 years for this guy to come back. And now Punk has kind of, in a way, shown his true colors. This is a very fucked up situation. On a time where we are all supposed to be celebrating, AEW and them, selling 81,000 tickets at Wembley Stadium. Instead of talking about that, we are talking about this. About a fucking fight that happened between Jack Perry and CM Punk all over a fucking report about using glass. Both of these guys are in the wrong at the end of the day. And Tony Khan, say what you want about Tony Khan, but one of the things I actually commended Tony Khan on was one of the first things in the media scrum for All In that he mentioned was about the incident between CM Punk and Jack Perry. He flat out stated, there's an incident going on backstage. There's an incident going on, and, I'm not going to take any questions on that. So Tony Khan really handled the situation, in my opinion, very well. But at the end of the day, this is still his company, and a lot of this shit is still going to happen, unfortunately. I hate using this terminology because, I've always denied it throughout the past couple of years, but it's starting to become truer and truer and truer once these stories keep coming out. The inmates are running the fucking asylum. That's just the fucking truth. After all the stories that we heard about CM Punk, about him banning people from Collision, what's funny is that he has beef with a lot of people. Like, for example, like the Elite stuff was all over Colt Cabana. He had beef with fucking Ryan Nemeth of all people. Again, a guy that has no share of importance in AEW. And I mean that with the utmost respect. He plays no important role. But you have beef with Ryan Nemeth? Okay, clearly something's fucking wrong with you. Now he is fighting with Jack Perry over some stupid shit. All of this shit could have easily have been avoided. But no, everything has to escalate in AEW's biggest show ever. And that is a fucking problem. Because again, Now everybody's going to look at you at like, bro, what the fuck are you running? What kind of company are you running? You know what I'm saying? Like, people are going to view you as just like, bro, you know, what is going on backstage? Why is everybody fighting with one another? Why is everybody fighting with one another? At this point, it's like high school drama. It's like family drama. Drama like I'm Portuguese, right? And the running joke with Portuguese people is like, bro, you know, your aunt hates your other aunt because, again, you know, because they think they make better food than them. This is basically the same thing. This is basically the same. It's the same shit. This is fucking retarded. This is the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my fucking life. Punk has a big role in this, and Punk is definitely in the wrong. Because, again, Punk is acting like he runs the fucking company. I get you are a draw and that you have stroke, but you need to know your fucking limits. You need to know your fucking limits, okay? You can't just act around all hotshot and shit and, you know, with the people that you have heat with, just immediately push them around and then cause fights with other people. Same thing as Jack Perry. Jack Perry should know his role too. Jack Perry honestly should know his role too. And he shouldn't really take Punk's advice, because if you really think about it, the way he handled the situation, that is something that Punk did last year. And he did the exact same thing. But the only difference is that Punk, this time, even though he didn't spearhead the situation, he handled it the wrong way. And this is a common occurrence with CM Punk. I said it at the top of this video. Punk, in many of these situations, he's right in which he was kind of wronged by the actions of other people. Okay? Punk would be in the wrong in many of these situations. But the way he would handle these situations, that is where he goes in the wrong. He'd be right in the situation, and then he turned to the wrong. He literally would handle the situation, and he would immediately be wrong. And that is the biggest problem. Okay? And I think I said wrong in the other way, so my apologies. But again, Punk would be right in the situation, but he would do something that would immediately turn him in the wrong. And that is the biggest problem right there. For the second time in the current duration of CM Punk's contract, CM Punk has been suspended. It's a shame. It really is a shame. It really is, because, again, why do we have to deal with these issues? Why do we have to deal with these issues, man? Seriously, these are issues that could easily be avoidable. These are issues that could have easily have been avoidable by just having men talk like men. But no, we have to act like children and fight all over the place in the biggest show that we could possibly do and completely overshadow everything that we had done. That is a problem. And that is something that I'm getting sick and fucking tired of. Because, again, this is the dumbest shit ever. These guys are fighting over a spot of goddamn glass. Think about that. People fight over the stupidest shit, but I've never seen people fight over dumb shit in my goddamn life. Never in my life. Embarrassing. Embarrassing for AEW. I honestly feel bad for TK. I really do, because once again, he's put in a tough position. You're putting Tony Khan in a tough position, but again, he's not going to get a pass here either. I mean, there needs to be some sort of leadership in that company, and unfortunately, there's no leadership, and that is the problem. The problem right here is that there's no leadership in AEW. Without leadership, these problems are still going to happen. These problems are still going to happen, and you're going to throw suspensions left and right, and there's going to be fights with wrestlers backstage left and right, and everything is going to be overshadowed, and there's going to be a lack of professionalism. This shit needs to end, bro. What's funny is that this shit never happens now. I'm talking about now. This shit does not happen in the WWE. Yeah, we've seen similar situations happen in the past, but I'm not talking about the past. I'm talking about the present. Why is it that we see all these stories come out about the backstage atmosphere in AEW, and we never see a lot of these crazy stories left and right about the backstage atmosphere in WWE? We would get stories left and right about, the morale is high, but then the morale is low. But that is really it. That is really it. We never get these crazy stories about this person hates this person or that person hates that person. Oh yeah, and this guy got secretly suspended because, they got this guy pie-faced the other guy. Like, bro, that happens in AEW all the time. I remember last year at Brawl Out, right? After Brawl Out happened, almost every week there'd be some sort of fight that would happen in AEW. Like there'd be the Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker situation. Apparently those two women hated each other. We had the Eddie Kingston and Sammy Guevara situation in which I believe Eddie Kingston pie-faced Sammy Guevara because of something that Sammy Guevara said at a Rampage taping. And then Eddie Kingston got secretly suspended. We had the Andrade and Sammy Guevara situation in which Andrade would say something in an interview to the point where Sammy Guevara would go on a tirade on Twitter, which would then lead to a backstage fight between Andrade and Sammy Guevara. Like, bro, this stuff happened almost weekly, every week in AEW. It is insane, bro. And I remember, I told myself, I when I came back from my hiatus this past January, I said this, and it's coming back to haunt me and bite me in the ass. But I talked about how AEW, quote-unquote, recovered from Brawl Out and the situation between the Elite and CM Punk. After this, I ask myself this. Did they really recover from CM Punk and the Brawl Out situation? And honestly, the answer is simple. No, they have not recovered. And clearly, the problems are as bright as day in AEW. And these problems will continue to happen if there is no leadership. And unfortunately, the leader is supposed to be Tony Khan. The leader is not supposed to be any wrestler. It's supposed to be Tony Khan at the end of the day. And he ended up suspending both men. And there's an impending investigation about who hit who and who did what. This is a he said, she said story about a fight that took place at AEW's biggest show ever in Wembley Stadium. What a shame. What an embarrassment. And what stupidity on both parties. This whole thing is pure stupidity. I'm stupid at some times, but I also have, I have my limits on stupidity. And when I'm pissed off and I see some stupid shit, I get even more pissed off. And I know I would say things at the moment when I'm pissed off, but Punk is the same way, bro. Like, when I see stupid shit, I will immediately call out. And this is just so stupid. Who the fuck is running this place? Is it Tony Khan or is it the talent? Because clearly this is an example of the talent running a company. And honestly, the talent is running all over the promoter, unfortunately. And I hate to be the guy that says that because I think Tony Khan's great, but we really have to deal with this shit. Do we really, really, really have to deal with this shit? This is the stupidest shit I've ever seen in my goddamn life. CM Punk and Jack Perry are suspended. We do not know the status for CM Punk at All Out this Sunday, but I assume he's going to show up at the show, but we're going to have to wait and see. This whole thing has just been flat out embarrassing at the end of the day for AEW. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this whole Jack Perry and CM Punk fight situation that happened this past Sunday and the suspensions that were being thrown out. Now we're going to be talking about my preview and predictions for not only Payback tomorrow night, but also AEW All Out. And I'm going to start with AEW All Out. It's no secret that All Out is this Sunday. And I said this on the Dynamite review, but All Out is a show that I am not excited about. Number one, and this is a big number one right here. Number one, it's the fact that this show is taking place a week after All In. That should not happen because, again, this is a pay-per-view that you're going to have to spend $50 on, especially in this current state of this fucking economy. $50 is a lot of money. And not everybody has $50. And with the card that AEW has given us, with all due respect, this card looks very, 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 very mid. This card is not worth the $50 with all due respect. And I'm pissed off that I'm going to have to pay the $50 because I have to cover this show. But honestly, man, this show, man, is just not... I'm not saying the show itself is going to be bad. But I'm just saying, like, the card that we have seen over here, the card that I'm going to run through, is not the card that you would expect from any AEW show, to be quite honest with you. This show feels like a special episode of Dynamite. And it's a shame. But also, this show is taking place a week after All In, and there's barely any build for this show. The only match that was kind of being built for this show was Luchasaurus versus Darby Allin for the TNT Championship. Everything else was kind of announced last minute, and that is a big problem. Not only that, the build for All In was kind of lackluster if you think about it. The build for All In was lackluster because they started announcing matches like 3 weeks before the pay-per-view, and you can't do that. You gotta, yes, you are building stories, but you gotta announce matches at least a month before, a month and a half before, at least, especially when it comes to the schedule that AEW has regarding their pay-per-views. Now they're starting to add more pay-per-views to their lineup. We got another pay-per-view for AEW coming up October 1st in Seattle called WrestleDream, which is going to be a tribute to Antonio Inoki. We got that pay-per-view, and you got to build towards that pay-per-view. So I'm expecting AEW immediately after All Out to build for WrestleDream. But we're going to have to wait and see. This pay-per-view, I'm not excited about whatsoever. I think the show will be great, but this show, I'm not excited about, and it's not worth the $50 that I'm unfortunately going to have to pay for this show. In our first match, we got Eddie Kingston and Katsuyori Shibata taking on the Blackpool Combat Club. Now, from first glance, I think this match is going to be great, but the biggest problem that I see when it comes to this match is why aren't we getting Eddie Kingston versus Claudio for the Ring of Honor Championship? That's my biggest problem. Are they going to save that for Grand Slam and Arthur Ashe Stadium, which, from what I see, the tickets are not selling that well for Arthur Ashe? Like, are you guys going to save that for that show? I don't know. But personally, I would have much rather have seen Eddie Kingston versus Claudio at All Out instead of this tag team match. But who do I see winning this match? I see Eddie Kingston and Katsuyori Shibata getting the win. We got Samoa Joe defending his Ring of Honor World Television Championship against Shane Taylor from Shane Taylor Promotions. Of course, Shane Taylor is a part of Ring of Honor, and they did air a video package this past Wednesday on Dynamite. But I asked myself, why is this match happening? You know, the majority, with all due respect, the majority of the AEW audience does not know who Shane Taylor is. And I may sound hypocritical because we did have Vikingo a couple months ago on Dynamite, but Vikingo is completely different from Shane Taylor. Okay, Shane Taylor was commonly seen on, Ring of Honor TV, and a lot of people just do not watch Ring of Honor whatsoever. That match could have easily been for like a Ring of Honor show. Like, I'm not mad about the match itself. I'm just mad about the fact that we're going to be getting this match at a pay-per-view kind of like All Out. Like, why are we getting a match this match at All Out? We could have gotten this match maybe at, a random Ring of Honor show, but why are we getting a Samoa Joe versus Shane Taylor match at an AEW show? I may sound hypocritical for me wanting Eddie Kingston versus Claudio, but I'm more interested in Eddie Kingston versus Claudio than Samoa Joe versus Shane Taylor. Why is this match happening? Why is this match happening? Yes, they did air a video package, but again, it's a randomly thrown together match that makes absolutely no sense. I would understand it if they put it on a Dynamite, but I wouldn't understand why we're getting this match on a pay-per-view like All Out. It just makes no sense. We got MJF and Adam Cole defending their Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. I said champions. Defending their ROH World Tag Team Championships against John Silver and Alex Reynolds. Spoiler alert for you guys, I believe they're going to be airing Rampage tonight, but there was a battle royal to determine the number one contenders for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships, and the winners were John Silver and Alex Reynolds. A lot of people were mad that I believe the Kingdom was not involved in the battle royal, but I think they're saving the Kingdom Tag Team match maybe for further on down the line, because I've stated in my All-In review that this is the best story that AEW has done, and they're going to go forward with this Adam Cole and MJF storyline because it just works 100% and it works very beautifully. But it's obvious who's going to be winning this match. MJF and Adam Cole are going to be retaining the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. We got Bullet Club Gold wrestling FTR and the Young Bucks. Yes, FTR and the Young Bucks are going to be teaming together. And honestly, this is one of the other matches that I'm actually pretty much excited about because it's very weird. Yeah, we did see the Young Bucks and FTR team together before a couple of years ago on Dynamite. I believe this was during the pandemic. But again, what's funny about this whole situation is that FTR are friends with CM Punk, and we have the Young Bucks teaming with FTR, knowing the nature of the situation. That is pretty much funny if you really think about it. But it's going to be a very good match, probably one of the best matches of the entire night. But who do I see winning this match? I definitely do see FTR and the Young Bucks getting the win. Or another prediction that I have is, what if we see Bullet Club Gold get the win? Because Bullet Club Gold is being positioned very well in AEW recently. What if Bullet Club Gold gets the win and we have the Young Bucks turn on FTR? Who knows? It's going to be very interesting to see what goes down. We got Orange Cassidy taking on Jon Moxley for the AEW International Championship. This is going to be a great match. I loved the match that Orange Cassidy had with Penta this past Wednesday on Dynamite. I don't know, man. Orange Cassidy has been on a tear as international champion. He won that title in the fall of last year. I believe it was in September or October of last year. We're nearing a year with Orange Cassidy as the international champion. And could Jon Moxley be the guy to beat Orange Cassidy? Jon Moxley is just no ordinary wrestler, ladies and gentlemen. Jon Moxley is the real deal. And Orange Cassidy has a big cloud above him, which is Jon Moxley. Could Jon Moxley win the international championship? I could see it, but we got a lot of other guys that could easily beat Orange Cassidy for that international championship, i.e. Konosuke Takeshita. Konosuke Takeshita could easily be the guy to beat Orange Cassidy for that international championship. Who knows? But my prediction, I'm going to go with Jon Moxley beating Orange Cassidy for that international championship. We got Chris Statlander taking on Ruby Soho for the TBS championship. Again, a match that I'm not really that interested in. I did state a couple of months ago that Chris Statlander's title reign was, way more, I don't want to say impactful, but they're doing more with Chris Statlander's title reign than Jade Cargill's. But now looking back at it, like Chris Statlander, in my opinion, is just kind of there. They're really doing nothing with Chris Statlander, and I'm not really giving a shit about what's going on in the TBS title scene. But I wouldn't be surprised if Ruby Soho ended up getting the win and wins the TBS championship. We got Miro taking on Powerhouse Hobbs. This is a match that, again, I'm not really that excited about, but honestly, it's not going to be a bad match. I see Miro getting the win in this match. Honestly, this is a match that to be quite honest with you, I'm just not really that invested in. We got Luchasaurus versus Darby Allin for the TNT Championship. Very interesting match. Now, we all know Christian Cage is roaming around with the TNT Championship, a title that he never won to begin with. You run the risk of possibly losing that, because I really do want to see Christian Cage with that TNT Championship again. But it's weird. I mean, we got Luchasaurus as the TNT Champion. Darby Allin is wrestling this Sunday against him. I wouldn't be surprised if he won the TNT Championship again, because Darby Allin is really, if you think about it, he's kind of a workhorse for AEW. So I wouldn't be surprised if Darby Allin got the win, but Luchasaurus could easily win this match via the help of Christian Cage. So my pick, I'm going to go with Luchasaurus. And the apparent main event for All Out, we got Kenny Omega taking on Konosuke Takeshita. This match is going to be freaking fire. Probably the best match on the entire card, in my opinion. I think this match is going to be phenomenal, and I think they're going to tear the house down in Chicago. Who's going to get the win with Kenny Omega and Konosuke Takeshita? I could easily come on here and say Kenny Omega, but the way that they have been positioning Konosuke Takeshita, to be quite honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if Konosuke Takeshita got the win. Because Konosuke Takeshita, the way he has been booked with, of course, Don Callis, I mean, I think the chemistry that Konosuke Takeshita and Don Callis have is just pure gold. And honestly, I think it wouldn't be a bad booking decision if you had Konosuke Takeshita get the win over Kenny Omega. So my pick for this match, I got Konosuke Takeshita beating Kenny Omega. But another question is, will Konosuke Takeshita beat Kenny Omega clean? I think he's going to have help with whoever there is, but it's going to be very interesting to see what goes on. But my pick to win this match, Konosuke Takeshita, is going to get the win. So that is my predictions for this Sunday's All Out pay-per-view. Honestly, I am not excited about this show whatsoever. Again, it's the type of show that, a special, it's the type of card that would be on a, special episode of Dynamite. If you really think about it. That is All Out for you, ladies and gentlemen. That is pure. That's definitely 100% All Out. But my biggest issue is that you're going to have to pay $50 for this show, and not everybody has $50 for this show. But that was my preview and predictions for All Out. Moving on in our final topic, I'm going to be giving you guys my preview and predictions for this Saturday's, tomorrow night's WWE Payback pay-per-view. Yes, we got a WWE pay-per-view the day before an AEW pay-per-view. So AEW and WWE are literally going to be on the same weekend. Very similar to last year where we had Clash at the Castle in Cardiff, and then the next day we had All Out. The card is, it's all right. It's not the best card. Am I excited for Payback? To be quite honest with you, I'm not excited for Payback. It's one of those shows that I just do not really care about. But we got the Grayson Waller Effect. It's a talk show segment with Grayson Waller with special guest Cody Rhodes. Who is Cody Rhodes? What is Cody Rhodes going to talk about? I have no idea, but it should be a very interesting segment. We got LA Knight versus The Miz. I mean, they've been building towards this match for weeks on Raw. And honestly, I think the chemistry between The Miz and LA Knight has been phenomenal. Anywhere that The Miz has been involved with, anyone that The Miz has been involved with, he always, puts that guy over and really makes them look like $1 million. And I think in this match, he will make LA Knight look like $1 million. Because if you really think about it, LA Knight right now is a goddamn superstar. Like, LA Knight is super popular with the audience. Everywhere you go, you would literally have everybody chanting LA Knight's name. And every time when LA Knight would make his entrance, the crowd would just pop. So LA Knight is 100% going to be winning this match, to say the least. We got the United States Championship match with Rey Mysterio defending his title against Austin Theory. You guys know my thoughts on Austin Theory's title reign. I wasn't really mad when Rey Mysterio beat Austin Theory for the U.S. title because, let's be honest with ourselves, Austin Theory didn't do anything with that U.S. title. Ever since beating John Cena at WrestleMania, they didn't do anything with Austin Theory. The real mid-card champion right now is Gunther. That is the champion, or the mid-card champion, I should say, that WWE right now is focused on. Could I see Austin Theory winning back the U.S. title? No, I do not. Could I see an angle happen with LWO? I mean, clearly, with the way that they have been positioning LWO, clearly down the line, we're going to be seeing a turn with Santos Escobar. Because, look, if you have a wrestler acting all nice to, a team member, in recent months, clearly they're going to turn heel in the future. But is it going to happen on this night? I don't think so. I do see Rey Mysterio winning, or retaining, I should say, the U.S. title. We got the undisputed tag team titles in a Steel City street fight in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn defending their tag team titles against Finn Balor and Damian Priest of the Judgment Day. This is going to be very, very, very interesting. I'm very interested in this match. Of course, throughout the past couple of weeks, we've seen the integration of J.D. McDonough on television, and clearly Damian Priest is not in favor of J.D. McDonough really just being involved in Judgment Day business unofficially. But could we be seeing a breakup of Damian Priest away from the Judgment Day? We have absolutely no idea. They've been teasing it throughout the past couple of weeks on television, but could this be the night where this happens? Could this be the night where J.D. McDonough officially joins the Judgment Day? We do not know. But this Judgment Day angle is really something that we should really pay attention to because, again, it really has the viewer's attention. But who do I see winning this match? I do see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn retaining their tag team titles. We got two women's matches. We got the women's title match. We got Rhea Ripley defending her title against Raquel Rodriguez. I've said this for months already. Really, I have not been in favor of Rhea Ripley's title run. But the chemistry that she has with the Judgment Day is really what sells you on Rhea Ripley. And Rhea Ripley has been booked like a monster ever since winning that title. But the feuds that she has been involved with have just been completely dog shit. And unfortunately, this is one of those matches. I think Raquel Rodriguez is very talented. But she is, the way that WWE is presenting Raquel Rodriguez, she is honestly one of the most generic people you could possibly see on WWE TV right now. She's absolutely generic. From her entrance, everything. Generic as hell, with all due respect. Rhea Ripley, it's obvious Rhea Ripley's going to be retaining. Moving on. We got a steel cage match. We got Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus. Another match that I personally just do not care about. This whole Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus feud has been horrible. Absolutely horrible. Completely uninteresting. Look, I like Becky Lynch. I love Trish Stratus. I've always been a fan of Trish Stratus for years. But this whole feud has just been terrible. Absolutely terrible. And I can't wait for that feud to be over because, again, this whole feud has been absolutely annoying. So Becky Lynch is going to be getting this win. Moving on. We got the World Heavyweight title match. We got Seth Rollins defending his title against Shinsuke Nakamura. The way that they have been presenting Shinsuke Nakamura throughout the past couple of weeks on Raw has been great. I love they finally found a way to really present Shinsuke Nakamura well. And honestly, these video packages that they've been airing on Shinsuke Nakamura throughout the past couple of weeks on Raw is the Shinsuke Nakamura that we've all wanted to see on the main roster for years at this point. And they're finally doing it with Seth Rollins in this feud. Who's going to be winning this match? Seth Rollins is not losing that World Heavyweight Championship anytime soon. I hate to break it to you. I know there's some people that want Shinsuke Nakamura to get the win, but, if Shinsuke Nakamura got the win over Seth Rollins, what would be the long-term plan for Shinsuke Nakamura? I'll tell you the answer. There's no plan for Shinsuke Nakamura. Seth Rollins is going to hold on to that World Heavyweight title until he drops it to Gunther. That is my major prediction right there. But Seth Rollins is going to get the win and he's going to retain, I should say. He's going to get the win and retain the World Heavyweight Championship. But yeah, those were my Payback for tomorrow night. Those were my preview and predictions for WWE Payback 2023. I think this is going to be a fine show. I mean, just like All Out, I am not interested. I mean, we got a WWE pay-per-view tomorrow. We've got an AEW pay-per-view on Sunday. And both of those shows look pretty much lackluster, in my opinion. Pretty much lackluster shows that I'm just not excited about. But are these shows going to be good? I genuinely believe they will be good. I think they will be great. But again, it's just not, from looking at both of these cards, they're pretty much lackluster at the end of the day. Those are my thoughts on both All Out and Payback. And that was episode 26 of the WrestleHavoc Podcast. We definitely talked about a lot of stuff, primarily about CM Punk and Jack Perry. And as you see in this text scroll, instead of me writing Jack Perry, I wrote Jackie Perry, which is a mistake on my end, which is hilarious. But we definitely talked about the CM Punk and Jack Perry situation. It is an ongoing story that, honestly, it's just pretty much embarrassing for AEW because, again, it happened at the worst possible time for them. They just had their biggest show ever, and it's getting overshadowed by a lot of real-life drama that is just really stupid at the end of the day. And both Jack Perry and CM Punk are suspended as we speak. But if there's any more news about the Jack Perry and CM Punk situation, of course, I'm going to be talking about it on here. But yeah, that was episode 26. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Push that bell for notifications to be on the lookout for more videos right here on the WrestleHavoc Podcast, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. And as the freaking referee would say, ring that damn bell for more notifications. And as always, it is Flamin' Rick signing out right here on the WrestleHavoc Podcast. Be sure to check out the SmackDown review tonight right here on YouTube.